And we're live. Welcome to the OUYACast, episode 35, recorded on Sunday, October 26, 2014, your weekly source for the latest news, games, hacks, and hacks for OUYAns everywhere. I'm Brandon from OUYACentral.tv.
And I'm Steve from OUYABrew.com. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 35 of the OUYAcast. Got a lot to get to today, and we have a special guest developer on as well. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. But Brandon, as always, what do we got in the news today?
All right, we got to start off with them Ouya sales. We got the Oregon Trail Director's Cut on sale for 60% off until November 3rd.
$2.
So, $2. So that you have what's today? Today's the 26th, so you actually have like another week to pick this game up. Until I'm surprised they extended this sale for this game. $2, can't beat that. So isn't it? You said it, I remember we talked about this before. It's a remake, right?
Well, the original Oregon Trail was like one of the very first computer games that I ever remember playing.
Okay.
Like way back, like early 90s, maybe late 80s even. And so it's a remake, but definitely didn't have zombies in the original one, so
Okay.
it's kind of cool.
All right, and then we got Motorbike, 50% off for $2.50. And this is this I haven't tried this game out, but it reminds me of I don't know if anybody played any of the trails on 360, where it's similar to this. It's the same style where you're on a motorcycle or dirt bike trying to, maneuver these obstacles.
That's pretty awesome. I was just about to say I've never even seen this game, but it looks incredibly cool. I like the graphics on this.
And one thing, I think, see, it has thousands of online tracks and a track editor where you can create your own tracks. So I'm not too sure if I know we have to try it out or someone knows about it, but because I know Ouya has been talking about having like a community server where you can upload content to it and other people can get access to it for certain certain games that have the capability of creating stuff for the community. So I'm wondering if this has its own thing, or is Ouya gonna implement this game into that service? Which would be great.
That looks pretty interesting. I'm going to check that one out. It kind of looks like I don't know if you remember, but back in the early '90s, there was an arcade game called like Stunt Track or Stunt Racer 3D, and you like drove this car and it had a big loop and stuff like that. It was kind of what it looks like to me.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard of that one, but yeah, looks good. So what else do we have? As you can see right there, Reagan Gorbachev is released on Tuesday this week.
Yeah.
So, available now for $9.99. I mean that $9.99 price point is like, I think is like right on, because right now you can buy, you got to get you can get, if say if you don't have a debit card or credit card to put on your Ouya, and you have to buy the Ouya codes, the game credit codes, they only offer like $10, $25, and $50. So hey, you can get that $10 card by Reagan Gorbachev.
Gorbachev. So does that game not have a demo?
Oh, it does.
Does it? Okay.
Free to try.
Good. Really fun game. Really fun game. I played it the other day, and it's interesting. I like the whole like top-down perspective and the way you got to work together. We'll basically work with yourself, but it's like the two players, you switch between them and all that, make them work together. It's pretty neat. I like it. Plus, it's a weird concept. We have to see if we can get these guys on here and figure out what in God's name they chose that for. There's so many other duos throughout history, and I don't know what they chose that one for. But hey,
yeah, definitely I'll try to get them on. And also, I mean, they were on the Ouya open office hours this Monday that just passed. Well, this Monday, yeah, that passed. And one of the developers on there, he explained a little bit of the concept. They had other uh, ideas. I think they might have had like the Pope and somebody else as their main characters, but they eventually went with Reagan and Gorbachev. And yeah, we definitely need to try to get them on. It'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and they're the same guys that we mentioned on the podcast before about uh they came out with they came out with Fist Puncher, and then they
Hmm.
also have some games that they did on the Ouya, but it's not officially released. There's the Wrecking Bird. That's the Miley Cyrus Flappy Bird clone, which is funny. And then they have a hang in there. Or I think I have it on here. I can't remember that one. Yeah, it was hang in there, and there's a cat hanging on. You got to try to avoid different stuff that's thrown at the cat.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, definitely got to try to get them on. But what else do we have? We got quite a few updates to some games. One game is in particular is Bomb Squad, which is number one trending right now. It has net play, replays, and more. Um, what is it? Co-op tournaments, new unlockables, cloud saves. I haven't even tried it out yet. I'm just I want to try it out, but there's like so much there. I'm scared.
I don't know what to do.
So yeah, and then there's where we our update list. Super Renegade Response has had a big update, and they recently just had another little minor fix, but they have quite a bit of new stuff. One of the key features is a new two-player added, so now it has multiplayer, so that's cool. And
That's pretty
also,
sweet. I like that game too. That's a really fun game that I keep going back and playing.
oh yeah, look, I just noticed that he updated his title art for a Halloween theme with a pumpkin on the dude's head.
That's kind of cool.
And also our good buddy Tozeal updated Weird Pong has a Halloween theme also, and he had recently updated too with multiplayer mode. So go check those games out. They're all free to try.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty neat that he got the video for the Bird Bros arcade machine on his page as well.
Yeah, that's cool. And what else? What else? What
Race
else?
for Your Life.
Oh yeah, the Race for Your Life. Now that game, I it, I just it's simple and it's I think it's one of my new favorite Ouya games. It it's a simple like one two. You can play single player, but it's not as enjoyable because you can crash into your other opponents and race around the tracks. You know, just released for $1.99. There's only like four tracks to race, but it's very fun. Like I had fun the other day. I was online and I was like I tweeted about it, and then the developer I saw that he like favored it, so like I contacted him. I said, "What are you doing? Turn your Ouya on and let's play."
Nice.
So he got on, and then Ouya favored it. So I tweeted at them. I said, "What you doing? Good turn. You I know they have Ouyas there." So it was cool that I tweeted, and then Jared was able to get on for a little bit.
That's pretty neat.
So you guys can check that out on the YouTube. I have it. Watch me play Race for Your Life, and I mean it's $1.99. Has online multiplayer. So if you're need somebody to play with, just hit me up.
Sweet. I'll have to get it and have a match online or something and video record it so when I win, everybody sees it.
Yeah, we gotta definitely try that out. Especially like we can get other OUYAns in there. Get they have an online leaderboard also.
That's pretty cool.
So that's cool. And what other big thing? Oh, and yeah, Ouya announced that Skulls of the Shogun is coming to the Ouya on October 28th, which when I saw that, I was shocked. I wasn't expecting that, and that's coming out for 9.99. Um, that game's on pretty much every platform out there. It's on Xbox, it's on Windows Phone, it's on Android, it's on iPhone. And I believe it also had even on PC where it has like online multiplayer, which is coming to Ouya, but I'm not too sure if it's like cross-platform on the Ouya, which I would hope so, because I mean I remember hearing about it where you can actually play on your computer against somebody that's playing on Xbox 360, so it should be able to do the same thing on the Ouya, which because I think it's all you know I don't know. I know I don't.
Cross-platform.
Yeah, hopefully it's cross-platform. I didn't see where it said it was, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Look
Looks
forward to
looks cool.
trying that. It looks like a fun game.
All right, yeah, I purchased it on the Xbox, but I never even got a chance of playing it. But so I might just try it out on the Ouya.
That's what it's funny because I was telling my wife about that yesterday. I said, Steam is having their Christmas sale coming up here soon, and it's like, so it's going to be another year where I can purchase a whole bunch of games where I'm never going to play, but you can't pass it up, man. It's like it's
Right,
like $3 a game or something for like these awesome games that you've been waiting to play forever,
all right, right,
and they
right.
just sit there and you never play them.
Yeah, I always have intentions to try them out, but just never have time.
Exactly. Well, should we get to our guest developer for the day?
Yes, I will. Let's
Go
go with
on, man.
how we're doing. Eldon McGuinness, programmer of quite a few apps, but one of the most recent ones that hit our radar was BootyCall, which the name just it's quite a funny name, but he'll let us know where he came up with that and talk about some of his other apps that he created just to help him, through his Ouyan experience.
How you doing, Eldon?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're good.
Very good, very good.
All
Thanks for
right.
joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
So, tell us a little bit about your new app, especially where you got the name from.
That is the key question that everybody wants to know. Well, basically, what it comes from is I use XBMC a lot on my Ouya, and every time they came out with a new iteration, I constantly had to go in, modify the APK to make it bootable, so I could bypass the Ouya launcher and just go right into XBMC. Well, it kind of got old, so I decided I'd write a program to help folks like me out. It actually works out great for people who want to make the retro nostalgia cabinets, who want to boot right into a nostalgia and get right to their ROM collection, things like that. Basically, it just takes over as soon as you turn on your Ouya, kicks you right to whatever program you choose, and then loads right into it. That way you don't get bothered by the Ouya launcher. It takes care to make sure that if there's a OS update, it'll let you know. You can choose to install it or just skip past it and continue on with your gaming or TV watching or whatever you like to do with your Ouya. And it also has that all-important controller monitor feature built into it. I know I myself have been bit by that more than once. Uh, Go to turn on your TV, turn on your Ouya, and all of a sudden your controller's no longer paired up. Not a big problem if you go into the Ouya launcher, but if you're running a different launcher, you run into a brick wall because unless you got a keyboard around, you're stuck. You can't do anything. This program also solves that because it'll let you actually configure an amount of time, as you can see there, 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and it'll actually wait that amount of time for a controller to be hooked up. And if it doesn't see one, it'll actually kick you right to the Ouya pairing screen. So you can then turn around and turn your controller on, set it into pair mode, and get going and back to your life.
Awesome.
Yep.
Does uh does this application require root?
It does not. No, it does not.
Awesome. Yeah, most of the times when you want to try to hack or modify your Ouya, it has to be rooted. So that's awesome to hear.
Yep, yeah. The only thing this requires you is when you install it the first time and you go to run it, it'll actually ask you what you want to choose as your default application. And you would obviously need to pick BootyCall. The other option will be Ouya Launcher. And once you go into that, at that point, every time you reboot, it'll actually just take you right to BootyCall. And again, this is something that's completely configurable. As you can see on your screen there, you have an option to wait for a USB to be mounted. So for people who have a USB drive hooked up and maybe you installed your games to the USB drive, well, in that case, if you go ahead and check that button, it'll actually wait for the USB drive to be mounted. And then once it's been mounted, it will go ahead and try to load the application. So as long as it's a reasonable application, it'll actually wait for that, then load the application so you don't have that catch-22 situation where the Ouya wants to start it but can't start it because the USB drive isn't seen yet.
Okay. Cool. Show your device. This is beacon
Yep.
center. So
Yeah,
that's
the hid device option, there's a couple of controllers out there that are actually kind of wonky, and they show up. I believe one was made by Philips. I had a couple of users that were testing this out for me, and the control monitor part of it, and their actual controller showed up as a hid interface device, which unfortunately is the same as a keyboard or a mouse. So I wanted to make that optional because, if you have a keyboard hooked up, that's not necessarily your controller. And if you wanted to make sure that a controller was paired up, I made that option available. So if you don't want a HID device to be considered a controller, and again, that goes back to that paired, unpaired controller issue. If you don't want a keyboard to be considered it, then you just go ahead and hit no to that, and it'll actually still poll and wait for a controller. And if one isn't found, it'll launch you into that pairing screen.
okay. Now, what makes this application different than the other ones that are kind of similar to it?
Yeah, Autopilot, I think, or Boot, I think is his other name.
Right.
That one was the first one that I thought it was going to be my answer to my particular issue that I was having. But what you run into that one is when you exit out of the previous application, you still end up getting brought back to the Ouya launcher because basically what it did, it tied into the chain, but it didn't fully integrate itself as your default launcher. So what would happen is you'd start your Ouya, it would start up, load into that, but it didn't actually guarantee that you would return to the application of choice. So, if you go in and you're playing Nostalgia and you go into, I don't know, play maybe Mario Brothers or something, and you exit out of it using the exit option, the double Ouya button, and you go to exit, it would actually take you back to the Ouya launcher. And unfortunately, I do have to say, the update prior to the current update, the current OS that's on the Ouya does have a bug in it to where that is still the case, but that is going to be fixed, I've been told by the dev team,
Awesome.
in this update that is coming. So until then, if you do hit the double exit, even with my program, you're going to be returned to the Ouya menu. But once they push that update, which is supposed to be this week, you will be taken right back to your other application. And then, of course, the other ones didn't have the USB wait or the controller pairing or any of that other options either.
Right. Awesome.
So now I don't personally like to do things on the OUYAcast where people who are listening to only the audio don't get to enjoy it. But because this is a more of a visual type thing, do you think we could just take a minute and show everybody who's watching the OUYAcast on the YouTube channel how this works? Just kind of like go through it and then reboot it. Is it going to work for that, Brandon, or is it going to cut out because your card isn't going to show it?
I think it'll cut out, but then it'll come back in, like when it reboots.
Let's do it real quick. I'd like to see it in action. So walk us through this. What would we let's say we want to load up? I don't know, pick any game when the Ouya starts up. So we would just go down here. We click on what application do you want to start.
Yep, you click on the little drop down there. You choose whichever one you want to start. And it's important to note that the Ouya launcher is in there too. So this can be run and you still be able to get to the Ouya launcher. It is configurable to where you do have that option.
Right.
Now, are these things that are just installed on his system, or are these just because I know he's got a lot of stuff. So is this everything, or is this just what's on his?
No, this is everything. Be it an Ouya application, a side-loaded application, any application that you have installed on your Ouya should show up in that list. The only things that won't are some system applications, and I took those out just because they can kind of leave you in a no man's land sometimes, where things just don't work right.
Hmm.
But all the others, anything that you side loaded, maybe you bought it from another marketplace, or maybe you just had a different APK you wanted to load, it will still show up in that list.
Awesome.
Which again is great for those XBMC users because the latest version isn't on the Ouya store, so the only way to get 13.2 is to side load it.
Right. All right. So after I've done everything, I just now what do I do?
Just go ahead and exit out of it. Hit A. It's saved all your settings.
Okay.
And then what you're going to want to do is just go ahead and restart the Ouya. You can do that however you see fit. Just power it down, ADB reboot, whichever way you want to do it.
Flip the breaker in your house.
There you go. Shut it all down. Take it all out.
Let me try. I'd rather do it this way. Is this where I want to go?
I have no idea.
If you have the mod application, that actually has a reboot option in it too. That Ouya mod program.
All right. Yeah. There's one here too.
There you go.
It's reboot.
So, just so I can get this straight, Brandon, your preference, as opposed to pressing the power button and then going over one option to OK, your preference is to go 30 steps deep into a piece of software
Well,
in order to reboot your Ouya.
well, see, the problem is like my Ouya is behind my monitor here that I'm working at, so I don't want to reach over, and so
I see.
I
Well, that
want
makes sense.
I want a simpler way to do it. Like I just want a button. If it was like on the home screen, I'll just press it, boom.
Well, it was nice when Ouya had the option to reboot, but I think they took it out because they realized it didn't really work. So,
Now, do you see? Does everybody see?
There you go. That's your choice screen. That's going to let you know, hey, what do you want to do? You want to use BootyCall to launch it, and you must have a hard drive plugged in, so you'll have to wait till that's done scanning first.
Yeah, I set that up.
But once that comes back, you'll see it'll have BootyCall there, and it'll have Ouya launcher. Now the key, you can always give it a one-shot run if you want. Just choose BootyCall
Right.
and just once. But if you really want to go all back to it every time, you'll want to hit BootyCall and then come down to Always. Hit that button, and that'll set that as your default launcher. Now it is important to understand if you uninstall BootyCall, it'll go right back to using the Ouya launcher, so there's no risk. It's not like side loading, having
Right.
Linux and Windows side by side and messing up your bootloader or anything like that.
And yeah, break your Ouya.
Exactly. If worst case scenario, uninstall it. It'll go right back to as if you never had it.
awesome. So, if you hit just once, then what is it going to do? Let's see.
It's going to load up the launcher, and you see it right there, and it'll take a second and load you into whatever application you wanted.
That is awesome.
All right, that's great.
And like I said, that's great. Around my house, we have 3 Ouyas. We use them a lot for XBMC. So I actually have mine launch right into XBMC. But I know a couple of people that I had testing it were using it for retro gaming cabinets, and they have it load right into Nostalgia, and they love it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that I'm sure the guys over at Bird Bros would probably like to get their hands on this too. I'm sure that they do, their own kind of custom launch type deal, but it seems like it's pretty solid. So now, when he exited the Tubi TV app, it did bring him back to the regular Ouya launcher, and that's to be expected. You said.
That's correct. In this case, I didn't see it. It went by too fast. Did you use the double Ouya button or the exit? You used the exit, right?
I think I use the double Ouya button.
Okay. Yeah, right now, no matter what you do, because of the current operating system, the way it's working, if you do that double button and then exit, it's going to take you back to the Ouya launcher right now. But again, this update that is slated for this week will have that fixed, so you will actually go right back to the program you were in. Exactly.
Wait, so if I close say I had Tubi TV, it'll take me back to Tubi TV?
It would take you back to Tubi TV. Now, here's
So-
one thing. Here's one thing. You're not going to get stuck in a boot loop. When you
Right.
actually go back to BootyCall, it actually says press the Ouya button to configure. And if you actually do that, it'll take you right back to your configuration screen, so you can choose a different program. So if Tubby TV isn't working, and you wanted to change it, you're not stuck there. You're not stuck with it forever. It'll take you that screen right there. When you go through the launcher, it actually has a second or so delay, and it'll say push the Ouya button to configure. And if you just press it once, it'll jump you right into this program here, and then you can choose a different program.
Hmm. That's pretty cool. So when you're developing something like this, is it a little nerve-wracking to not know when you're testing it initially if it's gonna, end up, like you said, putting you in some kind of weird boot loop that you can never escape from, or?
Yes, that is very, very nerve-wracking. Believe me. I mean, I've done a little PC development and all over the place, but I do have to say Android is very forgiving. It is very nice. It's very hard unless you're doing some system level stuff to actually hose your system that bad.
I did it. Totally did it.
I worried myself because I tried to run a modified OS at one point, and I had somebody else who was walking me through the steps, and I had to use ADB to do it, and it froze on me. Oh man, my heart dropped. I was like, no, I killed my Ouya. Oh my, I'm gonna have to bury this thing. But it was just a timeout or some delay or something. It ended up working, but from that point forward, I was like, I'll just stick to the normal, non-lethal Ouya stuff.
That's pretty cool. So what, I know that this is kind of a new release, but do you have any updates or any kind of future items that you're going to be implementing into it?
As of right now, I can't think of anything else to add to it, but I am completely open to suggestions. If anybody has any ideas or can think of a way to make it better, I'm all ears.
Awesome.
I'm all for expanding it and adding little custom bits in there. The USB option was actually something somebody contacted me on because that person runs everything from USB, and they wanted to be able to boot right into that, and they were having issues. So that was an option that I added for them. But yeah, so that I'm completely ears on that one.
Have you considered maybe expanding out the basic automatic launcher into a full-on customized launcher? So like you still have the option, say, to just boot right into a program, but then you also have the option to stay inside of BootyCall and have additional features or whatever. I mean, there's tons of launchers out there, but none of them really seem to. I'm trying to figure out a good way to put it. None of them really seem to be able to hold their own when they're on the Ouya, because even the good ones like Backseat and stuff like that, there's always just like little things missing from them, and it seems like what you've programmed is pretty solid. So translating that into maybe like a full-fledged launcher, something like that.
Well, I actually considered a couple of things before I started doing this application, and I'm just not sure if a launcher is a direction I want to go because honestly, I mean, the Ouya launcher does its job for what it needs to do. Now, some of the things that I've actually considered, and one project that I started but I had to put on the back burner was a gamer tag system that would actually allow you to post what you're playing online, and it would do it automatically in the background via a service. And again, that's one of the great things about Android is because you can have these things running in the background, so you don't necessarily need a completely replacement launcher. You can just add on different bolts and screws to the operating system itself without rooting it or anything, and get some of these extra features that are more social and things of that nature that a lot of people are clamoring for.
Hmm. Yeah, I could definitely understand that. One other thing that I think would just be cool, and this is more to take the risk from your basic user, is if you could have like a stepped launcher. Like for example, I have a custom animation that I like to use when my Ouya boots, and if you've done this before, you know that you have to decompile the Ouya launcher APK, and you have to replace the videos, and you have to recompile it, you have to sign it,
Yep.
and you have to put it back on your Ouya, and it's very, it's one of those things you have to be very careful with, because if you're not, you'll brick your Ouya, which is exactly how I bricked my first Ouya. So if there was like a stepped launcher where you could say something like, hey, launch this video located in this file path, and then launch, whatever nostalgia or whatever program you want, that might be kind of interesting too. It would be, I'm sure, like a one-off scenario, but it would take the risk out of your average Ouya user, so that they could have a little bit more customization, stuff like that, and
That's
it's all
actually
done within the app.
Yeah, that's a very interesting idea. That sounds a lot like that would be useful for branding type things too, like you were saying, those arcade guys. That would be very interesting for them too to use something like that. I'll actually put a note for that. That shouldn't be too difficult to implement, actually.
That'd be kind of cool. And the thing about running a video or even like a JPEG image is there's really no default video or image viewer with Ouya, so that would almost have to be like a whole nother feature. Is it would just load up inside of BootyCall and show it whatever video or whatever image. So I think that would be a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean that definitely does sound very interesting. Just the idea that you could customize it that much more. Because I mean, really, that's ultimately what Booty Call allows you to do is take your customization a little bit farther. I mean, you put whatever game you want on there, but it's nice to be able to just do different things.
Exactly. Brandon, you still there?
Yeah,
You got
rebooting
quiet all of a
messed up.
sudden.
Rebooting kind of messed something up, so I'm trying to
Oh,
get the stream back going.
oh, it messed up on your Ouya because you rebooted it.
Oh,
On the yeah, on the my Elgato game capture is not streaming my Ouya screen anymore.
Oh,
oh,
Can you see it? All you see is just wait
one moment,
one
please.
minute. Yeah, I don't
well,
know
while we're
why
waiting
it's.
on that, what do you what's next on the list? What are you going to be focusing towards for your next project? Are you going to do another app, which I think that Ouya needs plenty of because their app market versus their game market is severely hindered, way less that is. But are you going to be doing another app, or are you going to be focusing more towards game development? Or are you going to be just not even focusing on the Ouya development?
Well, I've actually considered a couple of things. Like I was mentioning, I thought about the gamer tag thing. I had started that, got partially into it, but just kind of ran out of time at the moment. I've actually considered picking that back up. I'm just testing the water to see if there's really an interest in it because if there's not much interest in it, I'm not going to spin my wheels wasting my time on it at the moment. But another thing that I actually really wanted to do, because a lot of people like the whole chat notification thing, which another program I wrote, on-screen alerts, that kind of tempers into that just a little bit. Um, a lot of people have been asking a way for it to be notified of chat and be able to reply. And I thought that would actually be a very interesting app to kind of jump into and see how that would work out. Something maybe Jabber based or something of that nature. So no matter what server you're connecting to, you could possibly even bridge into like the AOL Instant Messenger, MSN, ICQ, all those different things as well, possibly.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned that you had on-screen alerts, and that was one of your programs, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
And I know before the show we talked about it just very briefly. Can we go into that a little bit more as well? Tell us exactly what that is and what you can do with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. On-screen alerts was actually one of my first programs that I made for the Ouya. I missed being able to have caller ID on the screen. Whenever I get a phone call, I have a VoIP system I use at my house, and I missed being able to get caller ID on the screen when I moved away from a bigger media center setup. And so that was one of the first things I decided to do was sit down and I wrote a service that runs in the background on the Ouya. And it's basically just a UDP listener. UDP is it's just a protocol that the network traffic can use. And it just sits there and listens for a particular packet, a particular format, I guess I should say, of packet. And when it receives it, it takes the information that it received and it displays a little pop-up on your screen. Again, as I said, I use it for caller ID on my TV. So when I get a call, my VoIP system just sends a broadcast to my network, and all my TVs get a notification that somebody's calling. I have a couple of Arduino devices around the house hooked up to different things. One of them's hooked up to my washer and dryer. So, and people get a kick out of this one. It's hooked up to my washer and dryer, so when my washer or dryer finish, I actually get a pop up on my screen saying the laundry's done. So that one's kind of funny.
That's pretty awesome.
But yeah, it's fully extendable. Like I said, it just listens for UDP connections, so you can send it from anything as long as you send it to the network. It'll show up on your Ouya. So I mean, I used it on my computer with a chat program called Trillion. So if people instant message me, it'll pop up on my Ouya. Unfortunately, as of right now, which is like we were saying before, you don't have a way to reply to them. You just kind of have to pause your game, get up, get to the computer, get to your phone, or something of that nature right now. but it's still very convenient to be notified when these things happen.
Right, right. Yeah, that's awesome.
See, I have this different system set up on my washer where when it's done, it makes this 10 million decibel level screech that fills my house.
That
That
that that
that
is a horrible sound. Yes, I am very familiar with that, and I actually unhooked that on mine. I got so tired of hearing it; it was so nerve-wracking.
Yeah, that sounds like it's pretty cool, and that's it's kind of the way that everything is going these days is just total integration with everything. We're going from smart homes and smart TVs and everything's just kind of integrated with one another. You can control pretty much any part of your house from your phone these days, and it's kind of cool to see something even as simple as an alert come through on your Ouya because, like you said, you might not have the way to respond right then and there, but it's good to know what's going on because I for one can get lost in games for hours and not even recognize what's happening around me. So
Oh yeah, definitely, and that was one of the key things for me was just if you're watching TV, you kind of got to weigh it. Do I want to answer that phone call? Do I want to risk it being somebody I didn't want to talk to anyways? Or do I want to keep watching my show or keep playing my game? Well, this was best of both worlds. I could see if I wanted to ignore you or not.
Right.
nice.
And so not like say if I knew I called you and you didn't pick up, I was like, I know you saw that notification and you didn't pick up.
Exactly. That's probably when you start texting. Look, I know you're there. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone.
All right. That's awesome.
Now, was there another app too that you had? I thought when you were scrolling through your stuff there, I saw there's like two apps besides the BootyCall. There was the on-screen launcher, and was there another one? Or did I just make that up?
Yeah, there is
Um,
a third one, controller monitor. And as I said, that's actually built into BootyCall, just to make for convenience.
mhm.
But I did recognize that not everybody's going to run BootyCall. They might have backseat launcher or some other launcher up their sleeve. But what controller monitor does is it fills that void like we were talking about to where you'll turn on your Ouya and you're stuck without a controller for whatever reason. Maybe you dropped it, or if you're like me, you have a son and he likes to play Chuck the controller every now and then. And for some reason it loses its bearing. I don't know. Maybe you just knocked a screw loose on it or something. I don't know. But you turn on your device and you're kind of just stuck because then you have to go unhook a keyboard, hook it to your Ouya, go to the pairing screen. It's really a big production for something so simple. Well, that program, it's basically just a one-off of that. It'll sit in the background, same as it does in Booty Call, and it'll listen for a controller. And if it doesn't find one, it'll actually kick you right to that pairing screen. So it's more of like a kind of a glue component for other alternative launchers out there.
But doesn't the Ouya automatically do that after so many minutes? Like it boots up to the pairing screen?
The Ouya does do that, but only if you run the Ouya launcher.
Right, right. Okay.
If
Gotcha.
you're using an alternative launcher that bypasses the Ouya launcher, you don't get that feature, and that was one of the huge headaches that I ran into.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
And yeah, but unfortunately, as of right now, I haven't published on-screen alerts or a controller monitor to the Discover store. Booty Call will actually be the first one I've published there. The other two are available on my website, progressivethink.in. They are available there. Both of those. Controller monitor is free. Anybody can use it. My gift back to the Ouya community. On-screen alerts is a pay application. I think I had the license for that set at $5. But like I said, for what it does, it's completely extendable, and I'm always updating, adding more pictures and things like that to it for different people's alerts. I had somebody actually uses it for TV updates and music updates. I'm not sure where they're getting the information from, but they wanted a way to have a picture of a TV, of a music note, books, things like that. So I put that in there too. So I mean, and again, those are expandable. As far as features, you got some you want to see in it, I'm all ears.
Awesome.
Well, we actually do have a request via our chat on the YouTube channel from Rosie119 says that they want to see some booty in the logo of Booty Call. So
It's funny that you mentioned that because when I was trying to think of an icon for it, I was talking to my wife and I said, what would be great is I'll just make like a pair of jeans or something and have a back pocket and just have a big old Ouya stamp on it, and we'll just call that Booty Call. And I was like, I don't know if that'll go over too well. Let me go for something a little bit less tongue in cheek.
That's pretty good.
So
Well,
really, I was right there with you on that one at first.
if you implement the video or image feature for the multi-step boot, we can make a special one just for them with like maybe some Sir Mix-a-Lot, like a clip of Baby Got
Yes.
Back or something.
That would be very interesting. That would be great.
Yeah, that's the theme music to his new trailer for Booty Call. I might just put that together just as a little joke. Do you have a
That
trailer
would be
already?
hilarious. No, I don't have a trailer as of yet. I just have some screenshots. I haven't had the chance to sit down and do something like that.
Right.
So I mean, if you do get around to it, do let me know. That would be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to mess around with that a little bit. That's awesome. Um, I think I saw another application on your website. Let me see. And so how much is all gonna be going for on once it's live on the Discover store?
BootyCall is going to have a price of $2.99, but I actually do plan on running a sale when it's released. I'm
Awesome.
waiting for it to be approved. I planned on actually putting it up for a short sale of $1.99 just to kind of get the ball rolling,
Awesome.
and go from there. But yeah, that's what I planned on putting it up there for.
Cool.
And again, I do plan on eventually getting on-screen alerts on there too, onto the Discover store. I just haven't had the time to get the Ouya integration stuff, the in-app purchase and whatnot into that too.
Okay.
So there's definitely a lot more features and upgrades being planned for it. It's just a matter of when you can implement it all together.
Exactly, yeah. Time for me, unfortunately, is very, just like everybody else, a very short commodity. I work from home and I actually homeschool my son as well.
Awesome.
So it's a very, very busy day. So I get 3 or 4 hours a day. I can sit down and do some real Eclipse programming, get in there, get my hands dirty. So it's slow coming, but I get there little by little.
Awesome.
We're definitely looking forward to it. Did you find that app, Brandon, that you were talking about?
Uh,
What's your website again?
It's progressivethink.in.
which is progressive thinking.
Yep.
Thinking
I think
application.
those are the only three that I have for the Ouya. I
Yeah,
think
it's just those three.
another one. Yeah.
I don't know this.
But on my website too, I did want to mention I did go through a lot of information there with the on-screen alerts. If anyone is interested in that, I do have a lot of information on the site as far as how to use it. I have a couple of Python scripts that I've set up that to actually make talking to the booty call to on-screen alerts easier. You can actually tie it into Trillion or any other old program, and it actually lets you parameterize things and send out those messages a lot easier instead of having to write your own program.
All right.
Yeah, and you can also download, looks like a demo APK straight from the site as well.
Yes, there is a demo there. You get, I think it was set at 25 pop-ups will show up first for the demo. It's pretty straightforward. You'll see a pop-up, you'll see what it does, test it out in game, make sure there's no problems for you. I use it watching XBMC, watching different programs, or while I'm in game. Even in the most arduous game, I see just a tiny, tiny slowdown when a message pops up, and it's just for a split second. But after that, there's no slowdown at all. I can't say I've ever had a problem with it personally, but I'm not a huge, huge gamer, so it could possibly be an issue for you. So definitely do give it a demo first.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, and I know we're getting pretty close on time here, so can we get your contact information as well, your Twitter, email, if somebody has another idea maybe for the booty call or for any of the other programs that they want to reach out to you with?
Definitely not a problem at all. My contact info is pretty straightforward. You can get me on Twitter and Facebook, both at Eldon McGuinness. You can hit my website. You can get me there. You can send me an email if you want, eldon.mcguinness@outlook.com. You can find me a lot on the Ouya forums. I'll be around OUYAforum.com. I'm on there a lot, asking people what they'd like to see. I'm very opinionated. I have a lot of expression on there too, so don't be offended. I definitely do take people's ideas seriously, and I'm a very personable person to talk to. But then again, that's me saying it. So
We concur. Awesome. So before we wrap this up, is there any app that you think that Eldon can create for you, Steve? Is there something in particular?
Oh man, I got ideas for days. I don't even think we have enough time to go over everything that I want to see. But I tell you that if that little boot, progressive boot option got implemented, I think that would do it for me, because just like you were saying about the how every time that Ouya came out with an update, you had to change the XBMC or whatever.
Mhm.
It's the same thing with the boot options. Where with the customized boot videos is every time that they come up with an update, they replace the APK file, and it causes you to have to redo all that. It's just a real pain. So having something that's not going to break every time an update comes through would be a tremendous plus in my eyes, anyway.
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's it's in my task list. I will definitely take a look into that one. I'm thinking it shouldn't be too difficult to put in there, and I will definitely send you guys a Twitter and or tweet, and if I get around to that, have you guys take a look at it and see if that's up to snuff for you.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Well, hey, man, we really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing everything with us. And next time you got a new app coming out, let me know, and we'll get you back on here again. We'd love to talk to you some more about what you're doing, because it seems like you're contributing a pretty fair amount to the Ouya app section, which I'm all for, because, like I said, they need a lot more apps in there, and there's plenty of games. I'd like to see some more apps. So, thank you for doing the good work.
No problem. I completely agree that that app section does need to be fleshed out a bit more.
Right. All right. Well, that's it for this episode of the OUYAcast. You can catch us next week. We'll have the guest developer of Def with us. So stay tuned for that. Um, can't think of any other announcements.
Were we getting Glaxoid developer on here
Yeah,
sometime soon?
we got him lined up too. He was supposed to be on a couple, I think last week it was, or something like that. And we had to reschedule that, so he'll get in touch with me when he's ready to come on. I got developer of Rubble and Strafe kind of lined up. Haven't got a confirmed date with him yet, but he said because he recently came up with an update for Rebel and Strife, and I think he's also working on another project. Which, speaking of other projects, Ouya Brew is working on a game. Then there's Phil Royer, which this weekend he's coming out with a battle room, which looks awesome already. I can't wait for it to come out on Ouya. Kill Switch is working on a game also that he wants to interview us, and we got to try to make set time aside for that. Um, who else? There's one other one. Also, Renegade, Super Renegade Response. He's working on like a Flappy Bird cologne that looks like a Paper Mario style game. So there's that. There's just so many stuff that's in the works. We are right now at 969 games and counting. So we're trying to we want developers to hurry up and get us to 1,000.
Heck yeah, time's running out, man.
Yeah, well, that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Catch us next week. You contact us on Twitter at Ouya Central TV and at Ouya Brew. That's it for this week. Peace.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye bye.